what you're doing is so much more than what people think a priest would do. I mean, it goes beyond the spiritual thing. I mean, there's a loop there. I mean, the spiritual aspect of it seems to me to be not only a goal, but it comes back around and it becomes part of the whole human being.
Yes. We're definitely a holistic kind of program.
And the thing about, people when they become desperate, and I interpret that from what I've been reading, is that the desperation becomes, you're messed up to the point where you really don't know if you're going to get through the day without your fix.
Yeah.
And what do you do after that? Well, if you get cut off from the ability to get your fix, then you become dangerous, right? Because you do whatever.
I have a DDD philosophy.
Yeah.
You have a disease, then you get difficulties that go with the disease, and then you get desperate because of the disease, and then you get dangerous. And then, as an old guy over 80 now, I get bopped over the head on the street. So I'm trying, if I can, to be protective of the elderly. Because these guys that need drugs will be a predator out there.
Right.
Because they've got the disease. If they don't capably understand their disease and begin to become better people, they're going to have more difficulties. And those difficulties will lead a person to be desperate. And those desperate people will be dangerous to you and to I. I hate to say I can't run anymore, but maybe you still can.
A couple steps. That's the whole problem. You never know when you're going to get hit over the head.
Right.
You assume you're not thinking that, so you're easy prey.
But the percentages are the people that are going to be hitting over your head are drug addicted people that need a fix.
That's interesting.
I hate to say that, but that's the reality of what stats are now.
When you I want to go back to cycle all the way back around to when you first got the call, whatever that is. I mean, people, especially people in the clergy, are talking about getting the call. I was at a conference yesterday on our campus at St. Rose, and one of the guys on the panel was talking about we have a calling at this college, which makes us different from other colleges. And I tend to turn things inside out. I'm thinking, okay, I got the call. What's the answer? If you get a call and you don't have the answer, I mean, your life can just have no direction. And it seems like your biography has a straight line direction. It's like you got the call and you went there. Now, how did that all work for you? You made decisions as a young man which you didn't have to make.
Well,
you could have made some other ones, right?
Well, it's interesting because this is something, kind of private, but here's how it happened. I was in graduate school at Siena. I know that, that's our local college, and I was in graduate school, but I was at the same time in the Navy Reserve. And when the Korean conflict was going on, I got the call to report into active duty. I went into active duty, and I was assigned to a destroyer escort. And on a destroyer escort, we're going up and down the eastern, the coast here of the East, from South America back up through the Caribbean and back up to St. John's up in Newfoundland. And it was being on that ship that we were protecting the East Coast. And being on the ship, we'd pull in to get fuel or pull into the different ports in the Caribbean. And our guys, inappropriately, when they were drinking on liberty, they would abuse women. And I have no hesitation to say that we were the ugly Americans going into these poor native communities at that time. And that was in the early 50s, 53, and we were aboard ship and going into these ports. Our guys on liberty would sexually attack many of these innocent women, and I was in pretty good shape at that time. I had an athletic scholarship through college, so I was in good shape, and I said, you can't do that. You can't disrespect that. And the guys that I would be correcting were my own shipmates, but I got into many a confrontation with them physically. And I came back aboard ship one night, and I'm sort of still bleeding from an encounter of trying, if I could, to disinhibit these men who were very motivated at that time. And the captain said, young man, I was on bridge duty, and he said, what happened to you? And I said, sir, the men were disrespecting the local women, sir, and I tried to stop them. And he said to me, you should be a chaplain. Now, again, I'd go back up on duty, on watch duty, again, night after night after night, and he would repeat, have you thought about that? Have you thought about being a chaplain? Sir, I'm sort of very happy. I've got the things pretty well planned. I've got a great job when I go back, and I've got a lovely lady that I'm in love with. And he said, you should be a chaplain, though. We need chaplains. We need chaplains. And that captain never gave up to me. He would remind me, and then he came up and he said, "We're going back into the Brooklyn Navy Yard, 100 Church Street. When we get in there, I want you to go with me where you can apply to be a chaplain." And I said, sir, he said, "I'll meet you at the gate and we'll go in and sign you up for the chaplain corps." So I didn't really make a decision.
That's interesting.
He sort of said, "This is where you have to be." Now, the captain, when you're in the Navy, as a young guy, and you're saying, "Yes, sir, yes, sir," you say whatever the captain wants to hear. And I did. I said, "Well, gee, I've got to do this if this is what the captain wants me to do." So I paraded over there, signed up for chaplain services, or an application for chaplain services. And then the captain congratulated me, went back in, and I never saw the guy again. So I have no idea where he is or whatever happened to him, but he is the guy that put me in the path here to do this. He saw something in me that I guess maybe I appreciated, and I did what he told me to do. So I didn't get the call. I got the captain saying, "Young man,
that's really
this
interesting.
is where you have to be."
So you didn't get the call, you got the order.
I got the order. Yeah.
Or you got the voice of God through this guy. I mean, who knows, right?
I don't know how it happened, but I've been now doing the same thing for a long time and very happy that the captain told me to do it.
So it's turned out that the order turned out to be the call rather than the other way around.
Yeah, it is, yeah.
That's interesting.
Well, that's the fact. It was through the Navy, because at the same time I had an opportunity to get the Grapefruit League for the Cardinals, and I was interested in going into, because I had a promised tryout with the Cardinals in the baseball team, and I was very disappointed about being called into the Navy, but the Navy turned out to be the best bet. So I'm happy about that, looking back at it, because it's been an adventure.
Well, what's your next adventure? What are you going to do next?
I want to try to develop job opportunities for people, and we're housing around 3,500 people a night in these locations, and they're all in need of a job, and we're working with over 5,000 people a day. And thank God for email and all of that goes with it. But we need to develop a market. We need products that we can prepare people to do. We need our own workshops. We need our own kind of construction companies. We have a lot of those things. We do all of the state cooking. By way of their offices and everything, we do all of the state cleaning. We have all the contracts for state cleaning. And we do all of the idea of products. We do windows. We do, again, construction jobs. We do energy jobs. We're trying, if we can, to now work with energy panels and do all of that. And we do a lot. We're doing X-ray redevelopment and taking and using a lot of things that are now being wasted to recycle them into products. So we've got many industries now, but we need many more.
So you're also looking at the whole hierarchy or taxonomy of the bottom level job, but also
right up.
Management all the way to the top.
Yes. Yep.
Wow.
So we've got a convoluted kind of way, whatever the talent might be. We have a lot of screeners that'll tell us where the talent might be and what the talent might be of the people that we're treating right now in our life skill training programs. And then we try to get them on that path, a career path where they can feel good about themselves. So we do a little calling ourselves. We say, we think you can do this. We look at their energy level. We do a lot of job coaching and get an idea of where they need to be, where they can be able to be helpful to them and to their family or to whoever in society. We try to get them to be wounded healers. We have the wounded, and now they're wounded and they admit they have that wound, and we want them to be able to be the healers too of those that they'll meet on the road to recovery.